we move to inning number 3. Both pitchers have worked into trouble, but both pitchers in somewhat remarkable fashion at times have worked out of trouble in each of their first 2 innings on the mound. Now here with innings 3 and 4, my broadcast partner Will Greer. Happy 4th of July.
Thank you very much, Matt. Happy 4th of July to you as well. I don't think I've said that to you at all today, despite the fact that we've been together for the last, 8-9 hours of today. So I appreciate it, and right back at you. The batter, Clayton Daniel, the leadoff man for Falmouth. Looks at a first pitch breaking ball from Seth Schumann. It's 0-1.
We're spending our second straight Independence Day together.
We sure are. Will there be a third next summer?
You never know.
Time will have to tell. Daniel 0 for 1 in this one. A deep flyout to lead off the ball game. The 0-1 misses low, 1-1.
I don't think I've spent 2 straight 4th of Julys with anyone since I was a kid. Look at the bond.
I'm honored. That's what they say about friends who spend the 4th of July together. Those are friendships that last. No score, 3 combined hits, 6 combined runners left on base between these two West Division rivals through 2 innings. The 1-1 popped up into straightaway center. Miles Lewis barely has to move. He calls everyone off. Not that there was anyone within 80 feet of him. And gloves for out number 1 here in the 3rd. So Clayton Daniel, the dangerous leadoff man, 0 for 2 with a pair of flyouts. And the 2-hitter, Hunter Steinmetz, comes up. Again, Will Greer, Matt Rigby alongside you on this Tuesday evening on Independence Day. And you really couldn't have scripted better weather here on Cape Cod. 73 degrees, light winds around 5 miles an hour, and partly cloudy skies above as Steinmetz looks at a first pitch breaking ball on the inner half. It's 0-1. Hunter Steinmetz batting from the left side, the Missouri State Bear. 0 for 1 in this one. He popped up a bunt right in front of home plate in his only other plate appearance. 0-1 fastball gets the lower half of the zone. It's 0-2. We do understand that we were having some audio difficulties with the live stream on YouTube in the last half inning, so all that you missed was a leadoff single from Zack Kone, 0-2, fouled out of play back behind the backstop toward the parking lot. Kone led off with a single, then Luke Alexander flew out to the center fielder Steinmetz, and then Miles Lewis grounded out into an inning-ending double play, 4-6-3. The single was the first of the evening for Cotuit, as the 0-2 from Seth Schumann, breaking ball, swung through, strike 3. Second strikeout for Seth, both coming on that breaking pitch that's seemingly disappearing into left-handed batters. And there are 2 gone now in the 3rd for Alec Bohm.
This is 4 straight Cotuit pitchers now, Will. Cotuit starting pitchers, that is, that we've seen have a heavy reliance on their breaking ball, especially through the second time in the batting order. We saw it begin a few nights ago when the Kettleers faced Falmouth at Arnie Allen Diamond with Jason Billis. He got 20 swings and misses in that start, most of which came with his breaking ball.
First pitch into Bohm, a breaking ball, chopped high but foul at the third base line.
Justin Hooper followed the next night in the victory over Hyannis here at Lowell Park with what I thought to be almost exclusively breaking balls. And then Zane Collins, as we already mentioned in the pregame, had his breaking ball working in the complete game shutout last night as well. Wonder if that's an initiative across the Kettleer staff over the last week or so.
And if it is an initiative, Matt, as the 0-1 into Bohm, fastball misses low, a changeup rather that time, count even. Then the Cotuit starters the last 3 nights, as you just mentioned, have really taken that initiative and run with it, because our beat reporters have talked to each starter after each game, all 3 outstanding starting pitching performances, and all 3 of them have said pretty much as the first thing out of their mouth that the breaking stuff was on tonight. 1-1 inside corner, another good breaking ball from Schumann. It's 1-2. It's the first thing that Zane Collins said last night. He obviously had his sinker working. That's his signature pitch, but got a lot of swings and misses with the slider, with the curveball as well. Bohm 0 for 1. He flew out to the warning track in right his first time up. The dangerous Wichita State Shocker awaits a 1-2. He swings at it and laces it up the middle for a 2-out single. 3rd hit of the night for Falmouth. Alec Bohm's first single, and he takes a wide turn at first but holds up there for Trevor Larnick, the 4-hitter. So Alec Bohm, who came in with the #1 average in the league, and as Matt mentioned back in the first, it's not particularly close. 41 points separating Alec Bohm and #2. And Bohm's average just continuing to rise. Hit those 2 home runs a couple nights ago against Cotuit. Followed that up the next night with a 5-for-6 night at the plate. He has 7 runs driven in his last 3 ball games coming in. Larnach, the batter, from the left side, the Oregon State Beaver, with the bright orange cleats awaiting a first pitch from Schumann. Here it is. It's a fastball at 89 miles an hour that gets the outer half. It's 0-1. Trevor 1 for 1 in this one with a single. A 2-out single back in the first. And as Matt mentioned then, he's now 8 for 16 on the season. And now 5 games for the Commodores. A second-year Falmouth Commodore. 0-1. Breaking ball sprayed out of play down the left field line. It's 0-2. Larnach, a guy who's playing right field tonight for Jeff Trundy. He's a very skilled outfielder, but Oregon State's outfield defense was so good that Larnach, for the majority of his sophomore season, was the DH. In fact, there were nights, one included in the College World Series, where Trevor was penciled in as the starting outfielder, and then the Oregon State manager made the decision about 10 minutes before the game started that the Beavers would be better off with a different outfielder. Again, Trevor really skilled out there. 0-2, swung through, strike 3. Another breaking ball from Schumann. Now his 3rd strikeout of the evening. And Seth getting into a groove out there, it appears, as we're through 2.5 from Lowell Park. Still no score between Cotuit and Falmouth on the Cotuit Kettleers Radio Network. Moving by 3 from Lowell Park, still no score between a couple of old West Division rivals, Falmouth and Cotuit, getting together on this Independence Day. And we want to wish you once again a happy Independence Day, wherever you may be listening to us inside the United States or outside. We appreciate you spending some of your 4th of July with us here on the Cotuit Kettleers Video Network, and truly do hope you've enjoyed the broadcast so far. Robbie Pito, after tossing 39 pitches through 2 one-hit innings, back out for inning number 3. The tall righty out of northern New Jersey goes to UNC Chapel Hill. Will face a college rival, Griffin Conine, to lead off this bottom of the 3rd. 1, 2, and 3 due up for the Kettleers. Conine, Avant, and Kinnaman as Griffin steps in and looks at a first pitch circle change that misses outside. It's 1-0. Griffin came into this one a .338 average. It's number 10 in the league. He walked back in the first. 1-0. Another circle change, this time taken for a strike. Again, now 7 combined base runners left on base by these two teams. The 1-1. Conine swings and sprays it out of play down the left field line, 1 and 2. Make it just 6, actually. Cotuit left 3 in their half of the first. Falmouth leaving, no, I was right, it is 7. Falmouth leaving 2 in the first, 1 in the second, and 1 in the third. Both starters dancing into and out of trouble all night long so far, but both have been pretty effective. 1-2, check swing at a high fastball, and Conine fouls it off of the backstop.
When these two teams got together a few nights ago at Arnie Allen Diamond Will, they left a combined 11 throughout the entire game. Just 4 for Cotuit and just 7 for the Commodores. Cotuit now 2 straight nights struggling with runners in scoring position, too.
1-2 from Pita. Fastball misses high. That was, of course, the night where Cotuit lost the ball game 6-3, but outscored, or out-hit Falmouth, I should say, 6-5. Not a lot of traffic on the base paths. Almost all of those runs scored via the long ball in that ball game. 2-2 misses outside. A breaking ball that never broke, so the count now full. John Cresto driving in 2 of Cotuit's 3 runs with a 2-run shot, and Alec Bohm driving in 4 of Falmouth's 6 with a solo shot and a 3-run home run. Nobody out here in the third. The 3-2 from Pita. Breaking ball taken a bit high but over the plate for strike number 3. The second strikeout for Robbie Pito. He's apparently wildly effective right now, and there's 1 gone here in the third for the 2-hitter, Chandler Avant.
Further illustrating that point from a few nights ago, Will, and then I promise we'll stop dwelling on a game that's already in the past. Jason Billis went 5 1/3 innings at Arnie Allen Diamond that night, allowed 7 base runners but just 1 base hit.
Avant takes a breaking ball that never broke off of his left leg. Hit batter, and Avant trots down to first base.
And there were a lot of that a few nights ago from both teams. A lot of hit batsmen in that game that Falmouth won 6-3. That hit batsman, as the ball ran in and hit Chandler Avant, was just the first of this game, though.
Easy take for Chandler. Don't think he's in too much pain because that curveball wasn't just 78 miles an hour. So now Brett Kinnaman bats from the left side. Avant a pretty good lead at first. Berger holding him on there. And the first pitch into Brett. Fastball right over the heart of the zone. It's 0-1. John Cresto lurks on deck. He worked a really nice AB back in the first and eventually walked against Robbie Pito. Gian Martellini in the hole for the Kettleers. Cotuit trying to get on the scoreboard. No score here as we play on bottom 3. 0-1. High fastball from Pito that Kinnaman swings through. Matt mentioned this back in Brett's first at-bat of the ball game, but Kinnaman coming in with a really good OBP at 417. Top 5 in the league in both strikeouts and walks. Guy that sees a lot of pitches every plate appearance, it seems. 0-2 fastball misses high, so the count now 1 ball, 2 strikes. Kettleers have the not-so-enviable honor, I guess, of having the number 1 and 2 guys in strikeouts in the league, but that a testament to John Cresto and Brett Kinnaman just seeing so many pitches. 1-2, fouled out of play down the right field line. It stays 1-2.
Modern-day baseball players, Will. Strikeouts are up for, what, the 3rd or 4th straight year now at the major league level. I know it's the antithesis of the player that Mike Roberts likes to have on his team, but it's just the way that ball players are brought up to hit anymore.
The 1-2 from Pito. Fastball outside corner, strike 3. It seems, Matt, right now that Robbie Pito, I used this phrase a moment ago, but he's been wildly effective so far. Cotuit hitters just don't know what's coming. They don't know if it's going to be anywhere near the strike zone, and they've been frozen on some pretty right down the middle pitches from Pito so far. 2 gone for Cresto.
I'd agree with you. It's almost as if Pito has no idea where it's going. He's just rearing back and throwing it, trusting that his stuff is good enough to eventually find the plate, and when it does, have the Kettleer hitters fooled. That's what's happened so far.
Avant still at first. Cresto again the batter. Looks at an outside curveball that gets the outer portion of the zone, much to the chagrin of John. It's 0-1. That can be a really effective way to pitch as long as it never comes back to bite you. I know that sounds obvious, and it's almost come back to bite Pito a couple times in this ball game, especially when the bases were loaded with just 1 out in the first. Pito out of the stretch, delivers an 0-1. Fastball outside corner. Quickly 0-2 on John.
The problem, Will, is that it usually does come back to bite you.
Yeah, you figure if Robbie's out there for 5 or 6 innings in this one, at some point, Cotuit going to string together a rally. He's walked 2. He's also hit a man. John Cresto, the recipient of one of those walks back in the first, and an 0-2 hole here. Here's the pitch from Pito. Fastball misses up and away. Robbie Pito again, the UNC Tar Heel, did not pitch in a single game in his freshman season in Chapel Hill, but has that mid-90s fastball, good breaking stuff as well, and the dangerous circle change. 1-2, Avant runs at first, throw down to second, not in time as Chandler Avant slides beneath the tag. The tag came from the shortstop Davidson. Josh Bro with a nice throw down to second base that time, but it's a stolen base for Chandler, his first of the summer in as many attempts, and he's in scoring position, a 2-2 count on Cresto with 2 gone. Stolen base number 28 of the summer for the Kettleers. Get to it now, 28 for 39 on the base paths. 2-2 from the righty Pito, breaking ball that misses way outside. The count now full. So the other risk you run, Matt, with a guy who's wildly effective is that even when things seem to be rolling right along, at any moment he can run into quite a bad stretch of balls. And we've seen 3 straight into Cresto that haven't been close. Avant at second, no score here in the third, as Pito kicks and fires a 3-2 fastball that again misses nowhere close, outside and low. Second walk drawn by John tonight. And there are 2 men on with 2 outs for the 5-hitter, Gian Martellini.
I'll make another assessment on a risk you run when you're effectively wild, as Pito has been tonight, Will. And that assessment regards the catcher, Bro. If you're Josh Bro, you almost have to wait an extra beat because you set up in one spot, but you have no idea where the pitch is coming from or where the pitch is going to end up as it comes in from Pito. And then when a guy like Avant runs at first base, I think that extra beat that Bro has to wait costs him when he's trying to throw out base runners.
Just to make sure that the ball isn't going over his head or way to his right. It's a very good point. Martellini 0 for 1 with a strikeout. Looks at a first pitch curveball that misses just inside. Gian with the 3rd most runs batted in on this Kettleers roster, with 12 coming in. Trying to pick up number 13 or maybe even more here in the 3rd. No score as Pito stares the runner Avant back to the bag at second and delivers a 1-0 breaking pitch over the outer half of the zone. It's 1-1.
This is the pitch mix so far for Robbie Pito, Will. First pitch fastball that's nowhere close. 1-0 breaking ball that somehow catches the zone.
Should be a high fastball here. The 1-1 is a high fastball on the upper portion of the strike zone. Called a strike. It's 1-2. That was a lucky guess. I don't know exactly what's coming from Robbie Pito. And I won't guess again for the remainder of the broadcast, so I can finish 1 for 1.
Quite the scatter plot so far.
Just have no idea what's really coming now. 1-2 count. Here's the pitch. Fastball. Cranked foul up the third base line. Looked like Gian was out in front of that 88-mile-an-hour pitch.
It almost seems as though Pito has 3 or 4 different fastballs tonight as well. He has one that misses up and away at 93 that I think he's trying to get swings and misses on. And then he has one that dives in on righties like Martellini, like that last one did, at about 88 or 89.
He's had some cut as well to the outer portion of the strike zone into righties. The 1-2, breaking ball, taken up and in. Bro, the catcher, tried to frame that pitch. Borderline call that time, and it's 2-2 now on Gian. The left fielder, Watson, has played way back in left. The other outfielders and infielders at normal depth and positioning. Nobody holding on Cresto at first, of course, with Avant at second base. 2-2, breaking ball, inner half, strike 3. Martellini doesn't agree with the call. Looked like a questionable strike call that time, but it's the 3rd strikeout of the inning for Pito, all of the looking variety. And Cotuit strands 2 more on base as we'll head to the 4th from Lowell Park. Still no score on the Cotuit Kettleers Radio Network. Moving to the fourth from Lowell Park, still no score between Cotuit and Falmouth on this 4th of July evening ball game. 5, 6, and 7 due up for the Commodores against Seth Schumann, out for a 4th inning of work after 3 shutout innings so far. He's allowed just 3 hits, and he's looked pretty good despite being wildly effective at points, not to the extent of Robbie Pito's wild effectiveness, but Schumann hasn't had total command of all of his pitches so far, it doesn't seem. But all that matters is that the opposition doesn't have any runs in the runs column, and that's the case right now as we begin the 4th with a fastball into Logan Davidson on the outer half. It's 0-1. 9 runners left combined between these two teams through 3 innings of play. A lot of walks, a hit batter, 4 combined hits. 0-1. Davidson swings through a good breaking ball. It's 0-2. Logan Davidson 0 for 1 with a strikeout on the very same pitch that he just swung through back in the 1st inning. 3 strikeouts for Seth Schumann so far in this one. All 3 when there's a batter in the left-handed hitter's batter's box. Nobody out, no score. The 0-2 from the righty Schumann. A changeup that misses just low. It's Davidson, Bro, and Watson due up for the Commodores here in the 4th. 2 switch hitters and a righty. The righty being sandwiched in between. Schumann gets the sign, delivers a 1-2. Breaking ball that misses inside. Skips by the catcher Martellini over toward the Falmouth dugout. Logan Davidson, the Clemson Tiger, just finished up his freshman season at Clemson. Matt mentioned it earlier when he made an error that Logan comes in with one of the highest error totals in the entire Cape League with 8 so far in just 18 ball games. 2-2, fastball chopped to the right side. Alexander ranges over, gloves, and throws to Thomas Dillard at first for the first out here in the top half of the 4th. Believe it or not, it's just the 2nd ground ball induced by Seth Schumann so far in this one. And there's one gone for the 6-hitter, Josh Bro. I want to remind you at home fans that Cape Cod Baseball, as always, is brought to you by the Chatham Bars Inn. Visit Stars Restaurant at Chatham Bars Inn Resort and Spa for a world-class dining experience, a proud member of leading hotels of the world. So, Bro, the McLennan Community College Highlander steps in and swings at a first pitch breaking ball, fouls it down the right field line, and Thomas Dillard gives chase but runs out of room. It's 0-1. Bro in this one, 1 for 1, a double hit sharply down the left field line. That came back to lead off the top half of the 2nd. I want to give a shout out. I don't think we have so far, not that they're necessarily listening because they're here. Thomas Dillard's family traveling all the way up from Oxford, Mississippi. 0-1, breaking ball laced to straightaway center. Lewis ranges back, still ranges back. He's under it and now Bohm off the wall. Josh Bro coasting into second base. No infielder there as Thomas Dillard trails the play. We'll see how that one is scored. Probably a play that Lewis should have made, Matt.
Yeah, I think we talked about it last night. Miles Lewis plays such a shallow center field that coming in on the ball, he looks really, really comfortable. That one he had to hop on his horse and go backward. And it was a very deeply hit ball off the bat of Bro. But Lewis has it in his glove for at least a moment. And I think any outfielder, even an infielder, will tell you if it hits your glove, you'd like to secure the out. And Lewis was unable to do so there.
It is scored an error on Miles Lewis, allowing Josh Bro to reach at second base. For Miles, it's the 2nd error of the season and now 12 ball games. And Bro in scoring position with 1 out for Josh Watson, the switch-hitting left fielder out of TCU. Watson awaits a first pitch from Schumann. Here it is, a breaking ball that gets the outer half, 0-1. Strike zone as wide as we've seen all summer, Matt, from Pat Sparky Burns. Pitches on the outer half of the plate, inner half of the plate, upper portion of the strike zone, lower portion. You get the idea. The strike zone wide in all directions for Mr. Burns this afternoon. Bro at second. The 0-1 from Schumann. Swung through a good fastball at 93 miles an hour. It's 0-2. Watson walked back in the 2nd inning. That was his first plate appearance of the summer. Last season for Jeff Trundy here at Falmouth. After his freshman season at TCU, Watson was a .288 hitter in 32 ball games. Couple home runs, 17 runs batted in as well for the Commodores. Schumann taking his time, now firing an 0-2 that's fouled out of play down the left field line. Keeping the count right where it was. Watson, the perfect example of not necessarily the risk you take if you're Jeff Trundy, but part of the consequence of recruiting and having the recruiting pipelines from schools like TCU. The Horned Frogs, it seems like year in, year out, make it to the College World Series. So Watson only played 20 or so games in the regular season last summer for Jeff Trundy, and it will be more of the same this summer with TCU advancing to Omaha. I guess you take these kids for any amount of time, though. 0-2, changeup misses low. The count now 1-2 into Josh Watson. Willie Berger on deck. Cam O'Neill in the hole. This Falmouth lineup 1 through 7 really strong as you'll see all throughout the Cape League. But 8 and 9, it does kind of tail off a bit. First base obviously open here with Bro, the only runner on base at second. One out here in the fourth. The 1-2 swung on and chopped high over toward the Falmouth dugout up the first baseline. The count still 1-2. Seth still looking for that out pitch. He's had success against left-handed hitters 3 times so far today, with the curveball tailing low and inside. Struck out 3 batters from the left side with that pitch. We'll see if he goes to that breaking ball here. A 1-2 count with Bro at second. Schumann checks the catcher at second base. Now delivers a 1-2 that swung and rifled to deep right field. Conine ranges back. It looks like it's playable for Griffin, and he does make the play a few steps in front of the warning track. Alertly tagging from second and heading to third is Josh Bro, so he advances 90 feet. Nice out recorded for Seth Schumann that time. And Willie Berger, the 8-hitter, comes up with Bro 90 feet away from scoring this ball game's first run. Watson remains hitless in 2 plate appearances this summer. Gave that one a ride, but Conine easily ranged over and made the play in deep right center field. And you know Miles Lewis, just as much as anyone else at Lowell Park right now, hoping that Seth Schumann can get the final out of this top of the fourth. Berger, the batter, came in a sub-200 hitter, and so far in this one, he's 0 for 1 with a ground out to Zack Kone, a double play ground out. First pitch into Berger, breaking ball, tattooed to deep left field. Kinnaman ranges back, looks up, that ball off the wall. 1 run will score, that's Bro. Berger coasting into second base with a well-hit RBI double that time. It one-hopped the left center field wall, and the seal broke in here on the fourth. It's 1-0 Falmouth.
Fastball that missed up there from Seth Schumann. That's been a theme in this inning. Solid contact from the trio of Bro, Watson, and Berger now, Will. And after each team struggled quite mightily through the first 3 innings with runners on base, and in particularly with runners in scoring position, Falmouth finally becomes the first team to, as you aptly put it, break the seal and push in front 1-0.
RBI number 6 of the summer for Willie Berger. Double number 5, and a really good piece of hitting that time to capitalize on the mistake from Schumann. Cam O'Neill, the 9-hitter, comes up now, swings at a first pitch, sends to Zack Kone at third, who ranges over, gloves, and throws to Thomas Dillard at first for the third out here in the fourth. So Falmouth leaves 1 on, but they get 1 on the strength of a Miles Lewis error and a 2-out RBI double off the bat of Willie Berger. We're through 3.5 now from Lowell Park. It's 1-0 Falmouth on the Cotuit Kettleers Video Network. Moving right along to the bottom of the fourth now on this Independence Day from Lowell Park. 1-0. Falmouth now leading Cotuit thanks to the 2-out RBI double off the bat of Willie Berger. And Robbie Pito, after firing 64 pitches through 3 shutout innings, back out for inning number 4. He'll face Thomas Dillard, Zack Kone, and Luke Alexander, 6, 7, and 8. And the Cotuit starting 9, the first of which, of course, Thomas Dillard. Stepping into the left side, swinging at a first pitch curveball, and lacing it down the right field line into the corner. Dillard takes a wide turn at first. The ball bounces to right fielder Larnick, and Thomas Dillard slides in safely at second with a leadoff double. With his family in town all the way from Oxford, Mississippi. How about it for Thomas Dillard? Nice double there to lead off this bottom half of the fourth, and Zack Kone comes up with a man in scoring position.
We got a chance to chat with the family before last night's game in Wareham, Will. They said that they missed Thomas's first home run of the year a couple nights ago against Hyannis here at Lowell Park by just about half an hour. They were still on the trek up from Oxford. They blamed it on New York City traffic. We felt bad for him. Then Thomas had an 0 for last night in Wareham, but he did have some good at-bats. It's good to see Thomas get a double here tonight in front of the family and give them something to make their trip worthwhile.
Kone now shows bunt, fouls it off of the catcher Bro. It's 0-1. Looks like, Matt, that play looking out at the Lowell Park scoreboard is going to be ruled a single for Dillard and an error on Trevor Larnick. Probably the right scoring decision. You always think in the home ballpark maybe there's a generous double for Dillard, but it's a base hit nonetheless. I'm sure Thomas doesn't really care if it's a single or a double. Standing out at second base. Again, Kone, the batter from the right side, again shows bunt, gets it down at the third base line, but foul as the catcher Bro picks it up in between home plate and third base. It's 0-2.
Tough graders here at Lowell Park tonight. The festivities haven't lightened the moods of the official scorer, I guess. I would have scored it the same way.
I think so, too. Yeah. It looked like, though, that Dillard was going to take off for second regardless of whether or not Larnick did field that ball cleanly. But the throw came in. It was pretty close, regardless of the fact that Larnick did bobble. 0-2 count, nobody out. The pitch swung on outside, that time fielded by the catcher Bro, who picks it up and throws to first. The second baseman Daniel that time gloving at first base. A swinging bunt that time for Zack Kone. It does move up Dillard to third. And there's one gone for Luke Alexander. Looked like Berger was actually the first baseman that time. I was fooled. Thought Willie was a little bit taller than he appeared that time, but it is a 2-3 putout. Bro to Berger, and there's one gone for Alexander, the 8-hitter.
I thought you knew Willie better than that.
I did too. I've called more of his games than he knows. Infield comes in for Falmouth. Alexander shows bunt, pulls it back, and takes a high curveball for a ball. Runs at a premium in this one. Cotuit getting a man to third base for just the second time all evening against Robbie Pito, the starter for Falmouth. Has again been wildly effective so far. 1 out. 1-0 pitch into Alexander. Fastball looped into straightaway right. Larnick drifts back. It will be deep enough to score the run. As now Steinmetz, the center fielder, gloves. Coming home from third is Thomas Dillard. A sacrifice fly. Job well done for Luke Alexander. And just like that, we're tied at 1 here in the fourth.
Luke Alexander continues to do the little things well, Will. He laid down a pair of bunts last night, one of which was a successful sacrifice. The night before that, he had an RBI single and a sac bunt. He also had an RBI walk. We've seen him pick up some RBIs on fielders' choices as well. He always seems to put the bat on the baseball exactly when Mike Roberts asks him to, and it pays off here as he knots it back up at 1 in the bottom of the fourth.
Lewis swings through a good first pitch changeup from Robbie Pito, I should say. It's 0-1. It's the 6th RBI of the summer for Luke, and just 13 ball games now. Thought you said it well, Matty. He's just come through when Cotuit's needed him to. 0-1 misses inside. It clips off the hip of Miles Lewis, who tosses his bat down the third base line. So Miles will be at first base, a 2-out hit batter. And the top of the order comes up, Griffin Conine with 2 gone here in the fourth. Miles now 0 for 1 with a double play, and that hit by pitch. And he's, of course, always a threat to steal second base, especially with 2 outs in the inning, especially with a guy in Griffin Conine who has a pretty good chance at driving in Miles from second base. The first pitch from Pito, swung on and sent to deep right field. Larnick ranging back. Looks like it's playable for Trevor as he circles and gloves about 10 feet in front of the right field warning track for out number 3. Conine gave it a ride that time, comes up just short, but the Kettleers get one on a single, an error, and a sacrifice fly off the bat of Luke Alexander. And after 4 now from Lowell Park, we're tied at 1 on the Cotuit Kettleers Video Network. To the 5th we move from Lowell Park. Top of the order due up for Falmouth. Seth Schumann on for inning number 5 in a 1-1 ball game. And here to take you through the 5th, Matt Rigby.
All right, Will, thank you very much. Top of the order due up for Falmouth. 3rd time through against Seth Schumann. That means Clayton, Daniel, Hunter Steinmetz, and Alec Bohm. Schumann needs 65 pitches to work his first 4 innings on the mound. And the first pitch to Clayton Daniel misses downstairs for ball 1. First inning required 22 pitches for Schumann. The 3 innings since, 14, 14, and 15 as he's begun to settle in. The kick and the 1-0 to Daniel. Fastball lifted foul out of play, and it's 1-1. Had a good little time chatting with Seth last night in Wareham, Will. He was sitting right in front of us and just a bit below us in the Cotuit dugout up the third base line. He had some fun with the crowd mic all night long. The 1-1 pitch, Daniel watches it miss down and in, 2 balls and 1 strike.
He was very supportive of his teammates. Every time a Kettleer made a good play, he would lean up and clap right into the crowd mic to make it seem like the crowd was more appreciative than maybe they were.
We had a full 3.5-minute rendering, of for the 7th inning, not even during the stretch last night in Wareham as well. 2-1 pitch, breaking ball for a strike on the outside corner, and Schumann jumps back even in the count. And Seth and John Cresto were singing into the microphone, which I don't think they knew wasn't even live at the time. I tried to turn it live for the second verse. They each told me they didn't know the second verse. The 2-2 pitch, Daniel swings, knocks it right. And Seth Schumann grabs some nice reactions for out number 1. So Daniel now 0 for 3 against Schumann, and that'll bring up Hunter Steinmetz. Steinmetz 0 for 2 so far. He did reach back in that first inning via an error on Martellini on a dropped bunt pop-up. That prolonged that first inning for Schumann and ultimately forced him to throw those aforementioned 22 pitches. The other time up, Steinmetz struck out. First pitch to Steinmetz. He swings and grounds it back behind the plate for a foul ball, 0-1.
Do you know the second verse to God Bless America?
No idea.
Kind of like Amazing Grace in that way. Everybody knows the first verse, but it just continues and continues, and nobody really knows the rest of the song.
Do you know the second verse to the Star Spangled Banner?
Probably not, no.
The 0-1 pitch to Steinmetz, swinging a drive, swinging a miss, and it's 0-2.
How many verses do you usually hear from the Star Spangled Banner?
Just the one.
First?
Yeah.
How many are there?
There might even be 4. I'm not exactly sure. We got somebody looking it up for us behind us. Research department on it. The 0-2. Steinmetz and up. Miss on a 3 from Seth Schumann as he dials it up for out number 2. 4th strikeout from Schumann as he continues to settle in. And I was right. There are 4 verses in the Star Spangled Banner, Will.
Usually you have to start singing the national anthem, what, about 10 minutes before any sporting event begins? You'd have to start around 20 minutes before if you had to sing all 4 verses every time an event was going to get underway.
It's a really beautiful song. Francis Scott Key was quite inspired, you can tell from the lyrics.
Writing from the harbor, right?
That's right.
Watching everything go on from afar.
2 down now for Alec Bohm, and the first pitch to Bohm skips in for ball 1.
I think we've done our duty, the Independence Day chatter here. Glad we got a half inning on with some Independence Day themed conversation.
Can go put a Will Smith movie on and call it a day now. The 1-0 pitch to Bohm. Swings and lifts it foul out of play, 1-1. You ever seen Independence Day?
I have not. Have you?
Of course. It's a classic. Got to contemplate what you do, Will.
This seems like the day to watch it. Maybe I'll have to get it on my laptop when we get home after this one ends.
The 1-1 to Bohm. Fastball misses outside at 90 miles an hour, and it's 2-1. And RBI Willie Berger, the only damage so far tonight against Seth Schumann. 1 run, 4 hits, a pair of errors for Falmouth. 1 run, 2 hits, and a matching pair of errors for the Kettleers. 2 down, top 5, bases clear, and a 2-1 count to Bohm as Schumann steps off. Shadows creeping from the third base dugout and the third base line towards the pitcher's mound, but not in play yet as the 2-1 misses low for ball 3. Give it another half inning or so, and you got to figure those shadows will start to play some games between hitter and pitcher. The kick in the 3-1 to Bohm. Swings and chops it towards third. Kone waits on a low third hop. Picks it up to his left for out number 3. Strong throw there from Zack Kone. Continues to look pretty good at third base. Nothing across for Falmouth in the top of the 5th. We're halfway home with the score tied at 1 at Lowell Park on Independence Day on the Cotuit Kettleers Video Network. Halfway home from Lowell Park on Independence Day. A very happy 4th of July to you wherever you may be tuning in or watching from in this great United States of America, or even if you may be tuning in or listening from overseas. Fingers crossed, Will. Matt Rigby and Will Greer with you on the Cotuit Kettleers Video Network. 1-1 the score between Cotuit and Falmouth after 4.5. And the starting pitcher for Falmouth sees his day come to an end before he can take the mound in the bottom of the 5th, as Robbie Pito gives way to William Etheridge. Pito's final line: 4 innings, 2 hits, 1 run. It was unearned, 4 strikeouts and 3 walks. Pito worked into and out of trouble all night long. He throws 78 pitches, and he leaves with a no decision as this game's still tied at 1. Etheridge from Ole Miss, a righty, 6'5", 218 pounds, a Little Burn, Georgia native. Making his 4th appearance of the season for the Commodores, fires the first pitch into Chandler Avant. That's spoiled foul towards the right side for strike 1. 3 innings worked on the mound so far this year for Etheridge. An inning in each of his 3 appearances. He has not allowed a run. He's given up 4 hits, 2 strikeouts, and a walk. The 0-1 pitch to Avant, swings and knocks it right back through the box, out of the reach of the lunging Etheridge into center field for a leadoff single. So Chandler Avant on base for the 3rd straight time. It's his first hit of the night. And now Brett Kinnaman, the batter. Kinnaman so far tonight, 0 for 2. Kinnaman popped out to second his first time up, then struck out looking back in the 3rd. It was a 3rd inning in which Robbie Pito struck out the side, all looking. Kinnaman squares to bunt the first pitch, pulls the bat back, but it's over for a strike on the outside corner from Etheridge, and it's 0-1. 92 miles an hour there from Etheridge to Kinnaman. Big hole on the right side for Brett if he wants it. Instead he squares to bunt again, showing early. Etheridge with a long set, the 0-1, and Kinnaman fouls it back behind the plate. It's 0-2. So Mike Roberts not hesitating to ask his 3-hole hitter to lay down a sacrifice bunt here. Looking to move a runner into scoring position for the heart of the order. John Cresto, the batter due up next. See if the bunt's still on with 2 strikes. Kinnaman not showing. He's not bunting, and the 0-2 pitch misses up and away for ball 1. Zane Collins just popped up into the booth, Will, so we will have Zane on the broadcast in the next half inning. Fresh off his complete game shutout last night in Wareham. Etheridge comes set. The kick in the 1-2 to Kinnaman. Misses down and in for ball 2. Shadows now in between pitcher and hitter. So my speculation about a couple half innings needing to occur before that happened was a bit long, as it occurs just 1 half inning later. Avant with a small lead at first. Etheridge comes set. A long set, now the 2-2, and Kinnaman swings and misses for strike 3. Home plate umpire Pat Sparky Burns indicates that that was a foul tip by Kinnaman into the mid of Josh Bro. And there's 1 away now for John Cresto. Cresto's put together a pair of good at-bats so far tonight, rather plate appearances. He does not have an official at-bat yet, as he's walked each of his first 2 times up. A 6-pitch walk back in the 1st, and then another 6-pitch walk back in the 3rd. That strikeout for Kinnaman, now the 5th time a Kettleer has struck out so far tonight. But they have walked 3 times, and there have been 2 hit batsmen. First pitch to Cresto, breaking ball that misses low and away for ball 1. Avant still with a small lead at first. Etheridge doesn't seem too concerned with him. The 1-0. That misses down and into John. Another breaking ball at 79 miles an hour. And it's 2 balls and no strikes. We mentioned this a few innings ago, but Cotuit enters play tonight. Still in the top 3 in stolen bases. Set 27 successfully swiped bags for the Kettleers. They've been caught 11 times. That's tied for second most with the Falmouth Commodores. Throw over, it gets away from the first baseman Berger towards the right field wall, up the right field line. Chandler Avant moves up to second on an E1. And Chandler Avant doesn't even have to steal a base to get into scoring position, as it's the 3rd error of the night on the Commodores. So perhaps I set myself up, Will. I talked about Etheridge having not paid any attention to Avant so far in both the Kinnaman at-bat and through the first 2 pitches of this John Cresto at-bat. Etheridge finally decides to throw over, and perhaps we see just why Etheridge hadn't paid much attention, because that was a rather weak-looking pickoff attempt. As it missed Willie Berger's glove and moves Chandler Avant up. So now Cresto in a hitter's count, looking to cash Avant in. The 2-0 pitch. Fastball on the outside corner at 89 miles an hour for strike 1. Avant entered tonight's game with 0 stolen bases so far this summer in 0 attempts. Again, he did not have a very large lead, making that pickoff attempt all the more curious from Etheridge. The 2-1 pitch. Cresto watches it miss low for ball 3. This has been the new and improved John Cresto over the last few days, Will. Taking a lot more pitches, getting himself into hitters' counts, not fishing at balls that aren't particularly close, and avoiding strikeouts. Still in a hitter's count here. We'll see what Etheridge goes to with first base open. Etheridge with the kick and the 3-1. Cresto checks swing. Did he lay off? The pitch missed down and away. Appeal down to first. And the first base umpire, Mike Rabideau, who's actually positioned at second base with a runner on, says Cresto did not go. It's ball 4. John Cresto draws his 3rd straight walk. And the Kettleers have 2 on with 1 out in a tie game, bottom 5 for Gian Martellini.
Just to illustrate your point, Matt, the new and improved John Cresto. John had just 3 walks coming into this ball game, and in his first 3 plate appearances, he's doubled his walks total. Kettleers in business here in the 5th.
Martellini's 0 for 2 with a pair of strikeouts so far tonight. 1 swinging in the first, 1 looking in the 3rd. But I mentioned it in Martellini's first at-bat. He's been swinging a hot bat as of late. 8 RBIs in his last 3 games entering tonight. Got a chance to drive another in here. The first pitch, he loses his bat, grounds it towards third, moving over the third baseman Bohm. He gloves it to second for 1 on to first, not in time, as Martellini beats the wrap. And there are 2 away with runners on the corners now for Thomas Dillard.
You said it, Matt, but the majority of that bat that time, probably all but the last 2 or 3 feet near the knob area, went flying on the left side of the infield. Fortunately, everybody okay, and good focus from Alec Bohm. I mean, a bat is quasi-flying towards you at third base, and he's able to stay focused, field the ground ball, and flip to the second baseman Daniel at 1 for a good out that time.
It's a 5-4 fielder's choice on the broken bat from Martellini. It allows Avant to move up to third, and Martellini to replace Cresto at first. First pitch to the batter, Thomas Dillard, now is a fastball that misses up and away for ball 1. Dillard 1 for 2 so far. He scored the only Kettleer run of the game after singling and coming around on a sac fly from Luke Alexander just an inning ago. The 1-0 pitch, fastball, and Dillard spoils it towards the left side, out of play, foul, as the count goes to 1-1. Dillard, the switch hitter, batting from the left side for the 3rd time in as many at-bats. I mentioned it his last time up, but the entire family's in town for Thomas. And although they missed his home run a couple nights ago, perhaps he can show him an RBI here. The 1-1 pitch, and Dillard watches a fastball dent the outside corner at 90 miles an hour for strike 2. Etheridge working very deliberately, especially with runners on here in the bottom of the 5th. He's really slowed the pace of this game to a halt. He's 1 strike away from escaping trouble, though. It's the sign from Bro. The 1-2 pitch to Dillard. Fastball misses way outside. Good job by Bro just to corral that pitch and keep everyone put, with the count now rising to 2-2. Again, just to promo it one more time, we will have Zane Collins joining the broadcast in the top of the 6th. That is, if this bottom of the 5th ever comes to an end. Kettleers threatening, looking to take the lead. Will Etheridge working at a snail's pace. Now the 2-2 to Dillard. Misses up and in, ball 3. Should Dillard reach and a run not score, Zack Kone would be the next batter. Should Dillard reach and a run score, I guess Kone would be the batter still. I was more previewing a walk, I guess, Will. With the count now full. Martellini will be running. The 3-2 pitch misses upstairs. 4, and the bases are loaded for Cotuit for the aforementioned Zack Kone. So Zack Kone continuing to work his way out of a mini slump, has a chance for a 2-for-3 night if he can come through here, and has a chance to now blow the doors off this game with the score tied at 1. 2 down and the bases loaded here in the bottom of the 5th. Runner at 3rd, Avant. Runner at 2nd, Martellini. Dillard at 1st. The first pitch to Kone, way low and outside, as Bro has to scuttle over towards it and corral it for ball 1. Josh Bro's done a good job the last 2 plate appearances of making sure he stays in front of some erratic pitches out of the right hand of Will Etheridge. Outfield playing fairly deep for Falmouth. Infield deep as well. The 1-0. Kone swings, lifts it towards the right side. Will it stay fair? Hooking, moving over the right fielder Larnach. It drops in foul territory as Larnach lunges at the last second. And the count goes to 1-1. Runners were moving on contact there, so Martellini has to take the trot back to 2nd. Thomas Dillard with a little longer jog back to 1st. We've seen Kone use the opposite field like that all year long so far. In fact, he has a higher opposite field rate than he even does a pull rate so far this summer. See if he's trying again here. The 1-1. He swings over the top of a changeup as the count goes to 1-2. Might have even been a breaking ball there from Etheridge. 81 miles an hour. Pitch was in the dirt, and it had Kone fooled. Second straight batter now that Etheridge has had with 2 strikes as he looks to escape this jam. Bases loaded for Cotuit. A 1-2 count. Tie game, bottom of the 5th. The pitch to Kone. He swings, lifts it towards the right side again. This one in fair territory. Larnach has it measured, scampers in a few strides, and gloves it to retire the side. Kettleers threaten one more time, but once again do not score. They get a run, or they get a hit, a walk, and an error, but they leave them loaded. We'll move to the 6th. Score still tied at 1 on Independence Day from Lowell Park in Cotuit on the Cotuit Kettleers Video Network. Matt Rigby back to you on the Cotuit Kettleers Video Network. Lots of housekeeping items to get to very quickly. First of all, the score. It's 1-1. Cotuit and Falmouth tied up as we move to the 6th. Next, the starting pitcher for the Kettleers, Seth Schumann's day is done. He goes 5 innings of 4 hit ball, gives up 1 run. It wasn't earned, 4 strikeouts, and a walk. Seth Schumann leaves with a no decision as the score's tied at 1. And finally, as Will Greer takes over the play-by-play reins with Austin Kitchen, the new pitcher here for Cotuit in the top of the 6th, we're joined, Will, by last night's stellar starter, Zane Collins.
We sure are, Matt. And one more piece of housekeeping here. I'll just get the Kitchen's numbers here very quickly. An 0-1 record, a 9 flat ERA in 2 appearances thus far, 3 innings, 4 earned runs, and 3 walks for Austin Kitchen. Coming on for the 3rd time this summer, he will face Larnick, Davidson, and Bro here in the Falmouth half of the 6th. And before we ask you anything else, Zane, how are you doing on this Independence Day?
Doing great.
This your first 4th of July spent away from home?
It is.
And how's that been so far?
It's been fun. It's this is way different than anything I've ever been a part of.
Full day at Lowell Park. Did you like the parade this morning?
Yes, the parade was very cool.
Yeah. Throwing out some towels to the eagerly awaiting children down the streets of Cotuit, Massachusetts. First pitch into Larnick, taken for a strike. How about the performance last night? You went a full 9 innings, gave up just a handful of hits, no runs. We found that it was the first complete game shutout since 2015. I mean, that doesn't happen up here. You went a full 9 last night. 0-1 misses outside. How'd you feel? I mean, how did it feel after? How did it feel during? How was it?
I mean, it felt pretty good. It was just one of those days where you have it all, and you wish you felt like that every time you went out there on the mound.
Is that better than you've ever felt it on the mound before?
Yeah, if it's not, it's pretty close to better than I've ever felt in my life.
1-1. Larnick laces to Alexander at second. He's up with it and throws to Thomas Dillard for out number 1.
Now, Zane, we were near each other behind the batting cage earlier today during the hitting contest that seemed to go on for an entire eternity here at Lowell Park on this 4th of July. I asked you then, and I'll ask you again now on the broadcast, the arm's still attached, I can see, but how does it feel after 117 pitches?
I mean, it feels great. When I was throwing today, there wasn't anything super tight. I mean, obviously you're going to be a little sore after a game like that, but nothing too bad. I was able to throw, get it up there about 120 feet, and get my routine in.
Davidson shows bunt and takes a ball outside. Is that something you have to approach your friends and teammates at Wright State about, or are they following you? And did they congratulate you after the ball game, or do you have to text your buddies and say, guys, I just threw 9 shutout innings in the Cape League?
Oh, no, man. We're all a bunch of brothers over at Wright State, and I turned on my phone after the game and had probably like 15 text messages, and everybody just saying, wow, great job.
1-0 laced up the middle for a 1-out single for Davidson.
Now, you had your girlfriend in town for the start. We noticed that today because she was participating in the hitting contest. She's a softball player at Wright State, is that correct?
Well, she was. She's transferring to USF this year.
Very cool.
What was it like to have her in the stands for not only a start, but your best start maybe of your entire career last night?
It was awesome, but it was also nerve-wracking at the same time. It was the first time my parents see me throw down here, and the first time my host family has got to come out and watch. So at first, I mean, it was kind of...
Bro nubs one back to Kitchen. Sorry to interrupt. Zane, sorry about that. Goes to second for 1, on to first for the 3rd out. Finish up that thought, though.
But at first, I mean, it was kind of nerve-wracking, like, oh, I got to perform today, and then I forgot all about it when I went out there on the game.
We're going to keep it here throughout the break, Zane, if you'll be kind enough to join us for the bottom half of the 6th with a quick top of the 6th.
Sounds good.
Sounds good to you?
Yeah,
okay.
Sounds good to me.
I want to ask you, Zane, about your sinker. Your sinker definitely seemed to be working last night, although you talked during the postgame about the changeup and breaking ball working as well. I've read a little bit about your sinker. From what I can tell, I haven't talked to you specifically about it, but from what I can tell, it's a pitch that you've really perfected over the last year, and I hate to call it perfect at this point, but that you've really worked on over the last year or so. Can you kind of take us through the development of that pitch and just what that pitch has helped you accomplish at Wright State and now further up here this summer?
I mean, a lot of it's just God-given talent. I mean, it's hard to develop a sinker as a fastball, but working on staying through the ball a lot and finger pressures help a lot.
We saw last night especially, you have such a good mix of pitches. It's got to be tempting, though, to just throw that sinker, I would think, if you have that pitch in your arsenal. Do you ever think I could get every batter in this lineup out with the sinker? Why should I throw anything else? Or do you have to mix your pitches still?
No, I don't ever think that. I mean, sometimes I want to throw a little more than I should, but you always got to keep everybody off balance and keep them on their toes.
Were you worried at all for Lane Field, knowing that you're a ground ball pitcher and that infield in Wareham is hardly even an infield because it's gray dirt behind you on the mound?
Well, I was walking into the field, and then they had their third baseman taking ground balls, and I asked him how it played, and he said it plays pretty well, more like turf. So we got out there, and I was standing behind the turtle while our guys were hitting, watching ground balls, and it plays a lot like a turf field instead of a actual grass field. And we play on turf up at Wright State, so it made me feel more like home.
Horizon League's got to be heavy turf as well, some cold weather climates.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What's it like to come to Cape Cod for the summer, out of Dayton, Ohio? Nicer here than there, no humidity up here, and after the long winter, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. It's amazing down here. It's the first time I've ever been down here, and I mean, it won't be the last. It's pretty cool down here. It's special.
Talk about Alec Sogard a little bit. You're pitching coach at Wright State, right? And a guy who was a former Kettleer. He kind of helped you with the sinker. That's at least what we read. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. I mean, he's been around for a long time. Got up to AAA. Was on the border a couple of times. Probably should have got the call, but didn't. And I mean, we've worked and worked and worked so much, and he's just helped me out tons.
Sure. First batter of this bottom half of the sixth for the Kettleers will be Luke Alexander. Alexander, Lewis, and Conine due up against Will Etheridge, the righty out of Ole Miss. 1-1 ball game. Alexander 0 for 2, and RBI sacrifice fly back in the fourth for the Kettleers. Swings at the 1-0 and fouls it back. It's 1-1.
How instrumental was Coach Sogard in helping you secure a spot up here at Cotuit this summer?
Oh, unbelievable. I couldn't have done it without him. He knew Coach Roberts because he played here, and he gave him a call and asked if I could come up and be a temp player, and Coach Roberts said sure, he'd love to have me, and I mean, went from there. I just had to learn and actually develop as a pitcher.
1-1 swung through, so it's 1-2.
Did you get any texts from Coach Sogard last night after your start?
Oh, absolutely. I was kind of nervous. I threw 117 pitches. Didn't know how happy he'd be about that, but he was very happy and proud of what I did, and solely a lot of it was just him, how much he's developed me this year, and Coach Roberts, and just giving me a changeup. We tried to work on a changeup the entire season and just couldn't figure it out. And I was down here for 3 days, and I had an okay changeup by then.
1-2 popped up in foul ground. Berger makes the play, so there's one gone for Lewis.
Now, I find that fascinating that you come up here in a summer league, and obviously you're trying to work on things, but against the best hitters, at least on paper, in the entire collegiate landscape, you introduce or use a pitch that you haven't really used that much in the changeup, and you use it to get outs.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just throwing it every day and like starting to figure out what it does and how I feel throwing it, it's just giving me confidence, and then like not leaving it over the middle plate, throwing it down, so even if they do hit it, it's not going to be hit very hard.
First pitch into Lewis, taken for a strike. It's 0-1. Checks his swing, peeled on to third base, and Miles Lewis did hold up according to Tom Carey, rather. It's 1-1. Did Alex Sogard give you any tips, anything that he told you before you packed up the car and headed for Cape Cod?
He told me Coach was a great guy. He's kind of strict, but like if you stay on his good side and talk to him, like you'll have more fun with him than anybody else. And this place is just unbelievable.
1-1 misses inside. Go ahead.
Told me to make sure I go and stop at the coop because it's a pretty cool place.
Yeah.
Now, since last night's start, were even we were stands. Were even you shocked when Coach?
I don't know if I was shocked. We kind of talked it over, and he was kind of worried about it, but I kept telling him like, no, I'm finishing this game, and I mean, he was nervous. You could see him pacing up and down. While I was just trying to sit in there and relax, he was pacing up and down third base line. It's kind of making me a little nervous, but I went out there and just threw the ball north.
There you go. Did you think your night was done after the infield single?
Yeah, I was a little worried, and then if they didn't make that diving play in center, then I probably would have been pulled after that.
2-2 misses inside, so it's now 3-2 on the guy that made that diving play, Miles Lewis.
Night?
No, I should have, though. Absolutely should have.
Maybe a snow cone after this one or something. We ask every pitcher who comes up here, Zane, the guy that they most compare themselves to at the major league level. 3-2 misses low. Nice walk drawn by Miles. And he's at first with one out for Griffin Conine. Is there a guy that stands out to you, a guy that you try to model your game after?
I try to model my game after, I just forgot it. You asked me too fast.
We can stall and come back to that question.
We're going to have to stall. Oh, nope, got it. Dallas Keuchel.
I knew you were going to say Dallas Keuchel. I almost threw it out. Handed sinker baller.
Yeah, he doesn't throw too hard, just kind of locates down and lets the hitter get themselves out.
I should have just thrown it out there to look smarter than I am, right?
Falmouth pitching coach out to the mound. Looks like the Commodores are going to change. The guy on the mound right now in the bottom half of the sixth with Miles Lewis at first and one out. We'll see if that change is going to come. And it is. Looks like a lefty is coming on to face the lefty, Griffin Conine. So unfortunately, our chat with Zane Collins coming to an end here in the broadcast booth. But Zane, we appreciate you spending some time with us here in the sixth inning.
I appreciate it. It was very fun.
Best of luck the rest of the way. New pitcher coming on for Falmouth. A 1-1 tie here in the sixth as we pause on the Cotuit Kettleers Video Network.
Appreciate it, Zane.
You did great. Were you thinking a bad question was coming?
I was just waiting. I was like, oh, what am I going to stutter? And then Dallas Keuchel got me. I swear I was thinking Keuchel. I should have thrown it out there. Well, Keuchel or Britton. Britton has a lot of them. Yeah, Britton throws 95, so that's not me.
Back at still bottom half of the sixth. Miles Lewis at first, one out, and the top of the order coming up for the Kettleers here in the sixth inning of play. Will Greer, Matt Rigby alongside you. Big thank you to Zane Collins, last night's winning pitcher, last night's shutout thrower. Zane Collins joining us for a portion of that sixth inning. Really fun time with Zane in the broadcast booth, but now we get back to baseballs. Mitchell Miller delivers a first pitch fastball that's laced into right field for a base hit. Miles Lewis being held at second as the right fielder Trevor Larnach gloves and throws back in. Just the fourth hit of the ball game for Cotuit. 2 on with just 1 out, and Chandler Avant coming up.
What an impressive piece of hitting from Griffin Conine there, Will. We saw Mitchell Miller a few nights ago in Falmouth when Griffin was still in Omaha participating in the home run derby. We saw Miller look absolutely unhittable in his save against the Kettleers, or he actually picked up the win that night because he was on the mound when Bohm hit his 3-run home run against the Kettleers, but he went 2 1/3, did not give up a hit, struck out 2 and walked none. He's been unhittable so far this summer.
First pitch into Avant misses low.
And the thing that was impressive to me is that Griffin Conine wasted no time. He attacks the very first pitch he sees from Miller, knows he's going to get a fastball, knows what to do with it. And that was a really good piece of hitting there for Conine against a stingy pitcher in Miller.
It was a tailing inside fastball, to your point, Matt. 1-0 sprayed foul up the right field line. It's 1-1. And further to your point, it's just the 5th hit allowed by Miller in 11 1/3 innings pitched out of the bullpen. A 1-0 record, now 7 appearances, and a 0.00 ERA, couple saves, 16 strikeouts in those 11 1/3. The Clemson southpaw, 6'4", 190 pounds, delivers a 1-1. Then Avant chops high up back to the pitcher Miller. He fields, goes to second for one, on to first, not in time. The throw comes late from Mitchell Miller's college teammate Logan Davidson. And men are on the corners now. 2 outs with Conine retired at second for the 3-hitter, Brett Kinneman. The change obviously makes a lot of sense for Jeff Trundy in Falmouth, bringing in the basically unhittable southpaw Miller to face Conine, the lefty. Then Avant, the righty, and Kinneman, another lefty. Tough spot for Brett. But a man just 90 feet away from scoring the go-ahead run here in the bottom half of the 6th. Kinneman so far 0 for 3, checks his swing at a first pitch slider. That's taken on the outer half. A generous strike call. It's 0-1.
Kettleers now 0 for 10 with runners in scoring position tonight, Will, with that fielder's choice off the bat of Avant. That follows an 0 for 11 night last night for Cotuit. Put it together, 0 for their last 21.
So what you're saying is something's got to give. 0-1 gets to the backstop. And score the go-ahead run. Now the runner at second, Avant third, and he slides the ball. And it's 3.
The ball all over the infield in every single sense of the term. Just when we were talking about the Kettleers' inability to hit with runners in scoring position, a wild pitch brings home the first run in the form of Miles Lewis. But then when it seemed like there was still going to be a runner in scoring position in the form of Avant at second, the catcher Bro couldn't find it. Avant took third, and then Bro's throw was too far up the line and allowed Avant to come home.
1-1. Kinneman skies on the right side. The second baseman Clayton Daniel under it. And gloves for out number 3. But Cotuit gets 2 unearned runs in their half of the 6th. 5 runs, Matt, the last couple nights.